The Ole Miss Rebels travel to Stark Vegas to face the Mississippi State Bulldogs on Friday morning. Unfortunately, it's a morning kickoff, but it's the Egg Bowl, a top rivalry in college football. So much history, so much iconic moments. One of my personal favorites, the Piss and Miss. You just don't beat something like that. Some iconic fights.
The Bo Wallace fumble is also the piss and miss, and the Bo Wallace fumble in the end zone are probably they're the two moments from the Egg Bowl that I love the most because they're the ones that happened that I can remember.
It's the last
Sure.
2 times we've won in Starkville as well.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we have another iconic moment like that leads to another win. But we will need, I won't say need some help. We'll have to play well. Ole Miss is a 6.5-point favorite, so they are projected to win. Y'all's keys to this game, y'all's thoughts about this game, y'all's worries about this game, y'all's hopes for this game. What do y'all have?
I'll let JP get it started, and then I can kind of jump in as I feel necessary.
For the Egg Bowl, it's the pinnacle of Mississippi sports, of Mississippi State sports. It is a rivalry unlike any other, which is an overused phrase, but it for college football, it's one of those. It is the sport where it applies.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if we're talking about Vanderbilt, Tennessee, if we're talking about Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, which go Chips go, fire up Chips, as they say. Rivalries in college football, and especially rivalry week, hold impact like no other. They give life to teams. They become Super Bowls for teams. It will be a Super Bowl for State on Friday, and the Egg Bowl is that for Bulldogs and Rebels. A ton of years of this game, you reflect leading up to it on what this game could potentially mean for the two programs, what the impacts of the game could be, the drama leading up to the game. This has always been a game of intense magnitude on the future of the programs. For State this year, it is simple. Win and you go to a bowl game in year 2 with Levy would be a tremendous accomplishment. Would sadly would not meet the hopes and expectations of our MSU Barstool account and at least 50 people who have liked that post.
Well, they're idiots.
That being said, I digress. The season would be a tremendous success. I'd argue it still is with the loss, but we'll discuss that on Sunday. 2 birds with 1 stone as well. Winning the Egg Bowl and making a bowl game, you can't really get a better opportunity than that. Recruiting becomes easier, something Levy touched on in his press conference today, I should say. And the buy-in for next year is through the roof. The fan base will be finally vindicated for the torture that has been State and SEC play for 2 straight years. An Egg Bowl changes all. It captures all. The last time we won was, of course, in Mike Leach's final game. It vindicated everything. The last one in Starkville and the last one prior to that, is in an interim head coach with Greg Knox and the Piss and Miss. And the last one prior to that, of course, is what kicked off what would be a historic year for Mississippi State in 2014, where we were the number 1 team in the country, winning the 2013 Egg Bowl off the back of Dak Prescott's second-half comeback and Bo Wallace's fumble into the end zone. And the same stories can be told for Old Piss. They're just not as cool. They're actually really bad. For the School up North, though, for this game, it is really this is kind of unprecedented, I would say. I think there was discussion potentially of Dan Mullen leaving State towards the end of his tenure, but nothing like this. Nothing like what Lane Kiffin has gone through for the past 3 weeks. Does winning keep Lane even around for the playoff? Probably not, given what the announcement that we're expected to have on Saturday. But if they are to win, at least it is his last game. You won the Egg Bowl, the biggest game he can win for you. And you go out on a great note. You salute him. He has a really tremendous record in Egg Bowls. Kiffin, in his press conference, which he had today, and if you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Really?
You need to go watch it.
Is it cinema?
It is It is cinema. Kiffin was asked today if he were to win 2 more games at Old Piss, he would become the winningest coach in Old Piss history. And he answered, credit to the players that were a part of that. Of course, that is a massively loaded question because winning 2 games.
Wait, what did they ask him? Because that's not a question. That's a statement.
They told him.
They asked him, "What are your thoughts?"
If you win 2 more games here at Old Piss, you will become the winningest coach in the history of the university. What would that mean to you from a winning percentage standpoint? You'd be the winningest coach. What would that mean to you? And that, of course, is an extremely loaded question because Lane, at least at this point, it seems like it is favored that he won't play, but coach another game for the school up north after Friday.
Sure.
And he will be 1 game short of setting that record. It's an unbelievable. The press conference is one of the most uncomfortable press conferences I've ever watched.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see. I would imagine a body language expert is going to break that down because it was insane. He at the beginning of the press conference said he was only going to answer questions about Friday's game, this team, and this season. And credit to the Ole Miss reporters and writers. He was asked roughly 7 or 6 questions about his future, and he declined to respond to each of them, including at one point the same guy asked 3 questions in a row about his future, and he said, paraphrasing, but come on, dude, are we gonna keep doing this, or do you have a different question? And he was like, yeah, actually, I do have a good question about the game, and he would ask a question about the game.
That's fire.
That's good work from that reporter.
It was one of the most uncomfortable press conferences I've ever watched, and it has been for 3 weeks uncomfortable in Oxford. And it is a huge storyline coming into this game. The vibes of how their fans are going to feel in that game. Kiffin in Egg Bowls has always been someone who is celebrated like a lot more than he's really ever celebrated in any games when big plays happen, when he picks up a first down in a critical moment on a 3rd down. He is huge to celebrate. He's big on toting around the Egg Bowl of trophy as well. It was in the background of his press conference today.
That's good stuff.
He's not afraid to tote it around. He knows how much it means to the Rebels and, of course, to the state of Mississippi. That all being said, I do want to. Do you have any thoughts before we get into X's and O's?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be
and
Tucker also added some things. Let's finish the conversation about the head coaching situation because that is a big part, and then we move to the X's and O's. Tucker made a great point about there's a semi-precedent that a 10-2 Kiffinless Ole Miss could get left out of the playoff.
Absolutely.
Which would be wild. The precedent would be, I guess, the Florida State situation when they lose their quarterback Jordan Travis, and they looked unimpressive to finish the season. If Ole Miss looks, I mean, they're 10-1 right now, so 10-2 would be they lose to us, and then the next day Kiffin announces that he's going to a different school. There is absolutely precedence, especially with all the teams that we talked about on yesterday's show. I was about to say Sunday like it wasn't 24 hours ago. On Sunday's show, on the outside, looking in, but just barely, Vanderbilt, BYU, Utah, all these teams sitting just there. Maybe at Texas if they get a win against A&M. I could definitely see that becoming a problem for Ole Miss, that one of those teams would sneak in over them.
It's possible. The fact they have a win against Oklahoma really helps, though.
Yeah.
Because they both have the same win-loss at that point, and then the head-to-head there, and they've
Yeah, but head-to-head doesn't matter
If
when
you're in
you
the
lose
same-
somebody important.
Yeah, but I, in my personal opinion, which I don't know if the committee will do, I think the committee will view losing starting quarterback different as losing head coach.
Really?
I think they will say, we're still going to give credit to the players, what the players have done, and they're still there. And so we don't see any reason for the coaching change.
Yeah, after they didn't give credit to the 21 players that were on a team that went 13-0.
I'm just saying I still think it's a little different.
I disagree with you.
Really?
I think it actually holds more impact to the head
I
coach
think
not being.
I think like in terms of the actual team, sure, but I think the committee will not do that. I think the committee's less likely
fair.
to do that.
You never know with the committee. They also don't value
It's a
head-to-head.
completely new committee as well.
Notre Dame has the same amount of losses as Miami, but is ranked 4 spots higher and has continued to be week after week. Now they've performed
I'm
that
saying
way.
Ole Miss is what, 6 right now?
They are 6, yes.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't see a massive fall
If
happening.
they lose to State by 75,
yeah, of course,
Okay.
sure.
I'm just wondering.
And
State-
Trinidad
they're not
Chambliss
losing to
and
State by
Austin
75.
Simmons combined for 11 interceptions.
Sure. That would probably have to happen for State to win by 75.
I don't know. I think there's a route where they don't need 11 picks.
I think
When's the
we
last
could do it
time
with 10.
Mississippi State has scored 75 points? Have they ever scored 75
We
points in
scored
program
70
history?
against Alcorn State, I believe. It was 70, right?
I think it was 63.
Was it 63?
It was either 63 or 70.
That's not 75.
No, I don't know if we ever scored
So
75.
therefore, Ole Miss has to go
I'm sure we
negative
scored
points.
75.
Another thing, and this is just, I was thinking about this today, but we don't have to talk about it because it's just a theory. I really wonder if Ole Miss loses and Lane Kiffin loses the Egg Bowl and then announces the next day that he's coming back to Ole Miss. What do y'all think the vibes from Ole Miss fans would be? Because a lot of them on Twitter, and this is, so it's a small microcosm of the fan base, but a vocal portion of the fan base, because it's Twitter fans and burners, they're mad at him. They're pissed at him. They said, we are done with this. We've done this for 6 years. We've given you all these resources. We've invested in you. We've loved you as a coach, as you know, as our guy. Like, we've supported you. We've backed you, and you've grown into what you are now from what you were when you got here. And they're kind of done. They're like, this is a toxic relationship we want out of. What would happen if they lose the Egg Bowl and the next day he's like, I'm coming back?
They're all in. I
Yeah.
think it's insecurity from them,
Okay.
and just worried about uncertainty of the future that's causing them to like lash out. And if he said, I'm not leaving, they were like, good old Lane. Like, you know, he's always making a joke.
Yeah, he's always just been messing around.
Yeah, but he was never leaving. Like, he's an Ole Miss lifer, and we love him for that.
And they're in the playoff. They'll buy in immediately into the playoff,
Correct.
and it
Yeah.
won't matter. It won't hold the same impact as like Ohio State losing to Michigan did last year. But it might hold a little bit of that marginal one. But if it's anything, it'll be State burners will be in their DMs replying with us holding the Egg Bowl trophy. If
Yeah.
anything, I think that they wouldn't be anything from their burners.
And then they'll be
posting.
like, you can have the Egg Bowl trophy. We're in the playoffs. We got bigger fish to fry.
a photo of Kamario Taylor holding the Egg Bowl trophy
please,
would
you
go
cannot
so
be doing this stuff.
hard.
I prefer the Blake Shapen holding the Egg Bowl trophy.
I'm not even saying
he's
Kamario
gonna
has to
win
play.
it.
I'm not saying Kamario has to play, but like there will be a photo of it, and because he like it's
There
go-
already is a photo of it.
why
In
is
his
there?
recruiting visit, has a photo with the Egg Bowl trophy.
But we haven't had it for 2 years, so I guess when he was a
There's
freshman.
a photo of him
Yeah, I guess he was.
with the trophy.
It was that far back.
It is
Alright.
one of the photos that Levy's burners posted.
Because I think it
to start
hurts
him.
even more to post a Blake Shapen Egg Bowl like to put that in their mentions.
I don't know. Tucker said he thinks that they'd make it in. Playoff spots are less valuable now, so it's easier to say just leave them in. That's fair. Do we want to move on to? Y'all have more thoughts on the?
I got one more
Do
thing,
it.
and I just want to put context into the whole situation that we've gotten into here as State fans. You know, I've joked a ton about our Twitter fan base specifically, and maybe just our fan base in general. I've also been very pissed about it and had rants about it as well. If I told you coming into the season that a spread that at the beginning of the season, which was available on FanDuel, was Mississippi State as 13.5-point underdogs against Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl, and now the spread was 6.5 in favor of Ole Miss, still 6.5-point underdogs, a 7-point movement in the line, and Ole Miss was still in the playoff regardless of the result of the game. Would you be happy with the season? I'm sure you would, because that would assume that we have played very well. And
Yeah.
We have played very well above expectations coming into
Not
the
according
year.
to some people's expectations.
Not according to Barstool and at least 50 people that have liked that, which I guess those are just people that like any tweet that comes across from Barstool, just so that they can continue to see his posts, which they shouldn't. They should just block him at this point. That account has fallen off a cliff because of the current owner, which is sad to see. But State's at 5 wins. We're a game away from bowl eligibility. You would have taken that coming into the season. The win total was 2.5. We've already doubled our wins coming into the year. Just because we started 4-0, you can't.
Was it 3.5?
3.5. It might. I think
Y'all-
It was
y'all
three
blew
and a
it
half.
out.
I think it was 3.5.
Because you had three.
Yeah, you're right. It was 3.5.
You had three like non-power 4 games.
Regardless, we broke that through the first 4 games. That doesn't mean you can change your expectations the rest of the year. You can want more, and we all want more, but I don't think you can say that what he is saying right now is we had high hopes coming into the season because that's exactly what he's saying.
You can't change your expectations based on how the team performs.
You can yes.
Okay.
That is what I'm saying. You can change your expectations from game to game, but I think from what you expected coming into the season and how you should feel about whether the season was a success or not, this is the argument we got with basketball of, well, what did you expect coming into the season? Did they meet those expectations? We've blown those out of the park. And that is, in large part, what I'm getting at.
That's crazy.
You can want more. I don't think you should expect more.
Except that you don't know how the team's going to look, especially when it's so loaded with transfers, and then it comes out and it looks the way it does, and you beat a top 12 team in Arizona State, and you drop 60 or 10 more than 60 on
Alcorn?
Alcorn State.
Sure.
We're not
I'm
factoring
just-
in the Alcorn State
I'm just
game
saying that, like,
whatsoever.
okay.
But
But
then you watch the Tennessee game and how he collapsed down the stretch, and then you watch
Right,
the
but
Florida
you-
game
but-
and how he collapsed down the stretch.
Would you say the season's a success?
I am happy with how the season.
But you can. I think it's the thing of you can be happy with how the season went because you had certain expectations going into the season, while also still feeling a little disappointed that you maybe let an opportunity slip away.
I think we don't have to get in. This is not X's and O's. I think we fell short of what we could have gotten to. I think that I'm a little disappointed that we lost the Florida game in the manner that we did, and that we were unable to do anything in the Tennessee game with the ball in a tie game, 2 minutes. That we blew the Texas game in the manner that we did. I think that's fair. And so
I get what you're saying, and I am not disagreeing. You are allowed to feel disappointed in that. But I can also make the same point of, would you have taken, we are in overtime against Tennessee at home at the beginning of the year?
yes,
Yes. Then you have to live with that. That's I think what we're.
I just think it's
largest
crazy
point
that
we're
you
getting
cannot
at.
change your expectations based on.
Because all it can do is hurt you, and that is what it has done. That's all it can do, is just hurt you. That is just, I think it's the right way to think about it.
I think you can be
Hold up.
your expectations about the season were met, so you're happy with how the season went, and then there's like moments in the season that were disappointing, or like specific games that disappoint.
And you also I think it's a large thing. You can't think that just because we started 4-0 that the players are robots, that injuries aren't going to happen, that we are going to be perfect down the stretch of every game we play, like we were perfect against Arizona State down the stretch of a game. When you do that, just because you have the small sample size, it's only going to hurt you. I think it's just only going to hurt you. And so all I was trying to do was just provide context of how much success and improvement this program has seen from expectations at the beginning of the year, that a point spread has moved 7 points and Ole Miss is in the playoff regardless of result on Friday morning. If you'd like to continue to discuss that, we can talk about it after the game. But
Let's do that.
X's and O's wise, these are going to be the keys to the game, but these are just kind of stats coming into the game as well. State, its penalties is a big one. State is 98th in the country at 59.9 yards per game, but Ole Miss is worse. And so we got to win the penalty battle there. Ole Miss is 107th in the country at 62.5 yards per game. The school up north is dynamic offensively, and that is going to be a huge challenge for the Dogs on Friday morning. They are 11th in passing yards with 290 per game, 23rd in rushing yards with 193. That's the third overall offense and the 13th overall scoring offense, scoring 36 points a game and having just shy of 500 yards per game this year. State, in the last 4 games, has been terrible defensively, giving up 35, 41, 35, and 38 points defensively. And yes, that takes out Blake Shapen's pick sixes. We have also spotted teams in those games as well because of that. The Shapen pick sixes, the punt return by Ryan Niblett in the Texas game. State is going to have to somehow keep Ole Miss under 35 points for sure. State is giving up 202 rushing yards per game. It's the 13th worst in the country. But, and hopefully something to rely on throughout this game, is just giving up 214 yards per game through the air. We faced some really, really talented passing attacks in Tennessee, in Texas A&M, in Georgia, and we've handled our business there mainly because we've given up all the yards on the ground. Now, if we
there's positive and negative ways to spin it.
Yes, absolutely. If there's keys to the game, it's these. We have to tackle. We have to tackle really, really well. We need to go to try and shut down the run, and because of that, the screen play to the receivers in space, which is something that Kiffin does so well. We have to tackle. In the games that it has gone bad in the last 4, it was Georgia and Missouri. We had 30 missed tackles across the 2 games. But in the games that have went well out of the last 4, Arkansas and Texas, which went well until it didn't, we only had 15 total missed tackles across the 2 games. We have to tackle well to have a chance in this game. Duh. Football is about tackling. That being said, it's really important because Kiffin will spread you out in space. They have a 2.5 second average time to throw this season with Trinidad Chambliss. Here's my concern with all of that. Even if we are going to stop the run as much as we will, if we have no pass rush in this game, Kiffin has the chance to take advantage of that and dial up deep shots down the field. It'll be a huge test for Kelly Jones. It'll be a huge test for Jerron Manning and Brylan Lanier and Diago Brunfield. How will they hold up one-on-one? If they are able to and we're able to slow down the run because we're able to load the box, State has a chance defensively to stay in the game. On the offensive side, though, State's got to find consistent rush game, stay ahead of the chains, avoid negative plays, as Levy would say. Got to have carries for Fluff Bothwell. I don't care how you do it. He has to have touches at least. Get him the ball, even if it's in the passing game. Kamario is going to have series in this game and multiple snaps and multiple rushing attempts. We cannot have Blake Shapen lead the team in rushing attempts because he's the worst athlete on the field. I'd argue he might be worse than the offensive lineman we have. Probably not fatter.
Wow.
But slower and less athletic than our offensive lineman. I think you could make an argument for that. And so State has to find consistent rush game by getting it to our playmakers, which we have enough of. Both these teams have been very similar in pass rush success, so I think this is potentially a swing stat for this game, a potential padlock stat. Ole Miss has 22 sacks this season, State 20. So very similar pass rushes. If we're able to dominate, which we are not going to, of course, if we do, it'll be a good story for State. If we're able to win the sack game, like we did against Texas, like we did against Arkansas, it can potentially make a difference in this game, like it did in those 2 games. If we're able to protect Shapen, of course, we more than likely don't spot them free points in this game. Turnover margin is going to matter. We're going to have to win that like we have all season. We're +3 in turnover margin. Ole Miss is -3. And then my final 2. I guarantee you that this game is going to come down to crucial moments where Jeff Levy has to make a decision whether or not he should call a timeout to get the right play, whether or not by walking up to the referee he actually calls the timeout, which he has had plenty of scenarios he has been in this season, and about 80% of the time when he doesn't call the timeout, it has gone really, really poorly, and then whether or not to go for it. What will be the distance needed to go for it on 4th down? Apparently against Georgia, it was 7 yards.
Or less. He said, 7. Anything 7 or less, he was going to go for it.
That's insane.
That's college football 26 behavior right there.
Yeah.
Look, I'm one of the most aggressive coaches in college football 26 history, but 7 yards is a lot.
That's college football 26, like exhibition game against your friend,
Agreed.
type behavior.
Look, personally, I'm comfortable with 5 or less. I'm sure they're going to go 7 or less again, and I hope we're not in that scenario a ton. Of course, Levy hopes we're not in that scenario because if we're at 7 or less, that would mean either we gained 1 yard per play or we had a negative play.
Yep.
Those darn wasted plays, man.
But the real key, and this is the stat that Sanders doesn't know because he doesn't have ball knowledge, is this. State in wins this year, the closing spread, not opening, closing, has been State as a 5.5 point underdog or less, meaning or better. State in all of their losses have been a closing spread of 7.5 or more. The spread opened at 7.5. It is currently 6.5. We need all of you to go on Thanksgiving. Get your parents, get your cousins, your uncles, your sisters, your great grandmas, get their phone, get on, not Call Sheet. Don't get on Call Sheet. Not worth it. Get on Bet Online, Bovada. If you're in a state that doesn't have gambling, if you're in Tennessee, Missouri, you name it, FanDuel. Get on FanDuel and bet Mississippi State plus 6.5 with as much money as you're willing to bet. Ask for your Christmas gift early in the form of whatever your stocking stuffer was going to be. Give me my $50 right now. I need to put it on Mississippi State plus 6.5 so that this line is moved to Mississippi State plus 5.5, and thus State is guaranteed a win. That is the real key to the game. All the X's and O's don't matter. The spread needs to be 5.5 or less.
So the closing spread of the Arizona State game was 5.5?
Correct.
I thought it was more than that.
It was 5.5. Closed at 5.5.
Would you like to give us your X's and O's for the game?
I
Or would you like to pass?
don't have... I will pass. I don't know how I'm going to work this game.
Work this because you're going to die.
Yeah.
Did you not write these up in here?
Right, what up?
Are these not your points?
No. Are they your points?
I'm not in an Apple Notes page.
Well, it's the Google Sheet.
It's the Google Sheet.
Oh, I wrote those points.
Okay.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I did not make
My
any
fault.
points.
My fault.
Well, you Sanders, you can read them as your own if you like.
Yeah, sure. My 5 points.
you agree
no,
with them.
they're JP already ran through those. Get lucky. That is a great point.
The 5 keys, if you wanted to put it as short as possible, I think we have to score 35 plus in this game because I cannot imagine that we're going to have an elite defensive performance unless we have insane turnover luck, which I'll get into. We need to score 35 plus. Stop the run, please. Commit to stopping the run. Don't give up 300 rushing yards to Kawan Lacey. Although I would mind it because he's on my fantasy team, and that would mean I win my third place game. But stop the damn run. Let our DBs play ball. Let Kelly Jones, Thiago, Brylan, Hunter Washington play ball. Tackle. Pretty key one. Hard to argue with. Run the ball or at least get the ball to your backs. We need Devon Booth and Fluff Bothwell to have touches. And finally, get lucky.
Sure.
Yeah. One thing I do want to hit on is I really hope that this bye week got us healthy. We don't have an injury report yet. It should come out tomorrow night because they usually come out Wednesday night for Saturday games. So for Friday game, it should come out tomorrow night. But last game's injury report for Missouri, Blake Shapen was on it, but he played and didn't ever look banged up. So I don't expect that he was injured any further. I expect him to be fully healthy. Isaac Smith was out. Jet Jefferson was out. Albert Reeves was probable, but he was on there. So I really hope that we get back, specifically Isaac Smith. I hope he is at 100%, and then I hope Albert Reeves is at 100%. And then our starting quarterback, whoever it is, I hope is playing at 100%. Blake Shapen, I hope is at 100%. So
Reese is going to play.
right.
I can guarantee that.
Did you watch? Have you watched? Was it yesterday's press conference?
He had a press conference He's
today,
gonna-
probably.
It was yesterday, I think.
It was yesterday.
I need to go watch it. I
They
haven't
do it
watched
on a Sunday, I guess, because
They
it's a
did it on
Friday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Because they moved
That
the
is
day
wild.
forward.
All right.
Isaac Smith didn't do a press conference, so Isaac Smith, I would assume, is up in the air, and there was no question about it. Levy said the injury report would speak to it, and I don't know about Jet Jefferson either. Shapen is going to play. As far as I know right now, Shapen was benched due to the game being too far and keeping him away from injury risk.
I mean,
Which is what we thought when it happened. Because, like, you said that when Camario came in, you were like, this confirms that Shapen's going to start in 2 weeks.
yeah. I mean, if you really wanted to start Shapen in this game, which clearly he did, it was smart to take him out of that game because brother was just taking shots.
Yep.
Really, my biggest thing, and I'll just tack it on real quick, and you've basically already touched on it. You can't let Lacey cosplay as Ahmad Hardy. and rush for. It doesn't even have to be 300. If he goes for like 250 or something like that, I think the game's over. Because it signifies a lot of greater issues in terms of you're clearly not tackling well. The defensive line and the front seven just isn't being physical enough, and that's just going to be a long day overall. And then obviously, I mean, you can force fumbles and whatnot, but I feel a lot better about y'all's chances of making Ole Miss turn the football over with kind of y'all's ball hawks in the secondary. But
Yeah.
they're not really having to throw the ball a ton. That's also out the window. You can't let that happen again. Even from a pride standpoint, even like keeping the crowd in the game. If Ole Miss just runs all over you, the air's gonna get sucked out of the stadium. So
I would love to know historic spreads, because this feels like one of the biggest gaps as far as Ole Miss right now being a top 10 team and State still being in a rebuild. I wonder how much, and the reason I wonder about that is I wonder how many Ole Miss fans are going to be there on Friday.
My guess is it's going to be 60-40.
Really?
Yes.
I think that's going to be and that'll be the biggest, I think, takeover we've seen in an Egg Bowl game, because typically it's pretty heavily leaned towards the home side, as it should be. But it's kind of a thing. I think it's every rivalry probably does it. Let's go take over our rival school, and then it's like 95-5 because it's your rivalry game, so you're not gonna sell all the tickets to away fans. But I'm curious to see how that looks this Friday.
They've already planned to take over the east, the east side of the stadium.
But they did that 2 years ago too.
But they're being serious. They're putting the section numbers in comment sections of people who are saying they're going to the game or where to get tickets and everything. And it's going to be 60-40. But
the Cowbells will make up some ground. We'll give you all a boost.
I don't know about that. I hope they'll give us a little bit of a boost. But
Cowbell 100% gives you a boost.
Almost every single game I've put keep the crowd in the game as a key to it. I don't feel like that matters in this game.
I'm telling you,
I think it does.
A cowbell is physically louder than a person.
I agree.
So a cowbell counts for more. So even if it's
But
60-40
we don't have
people,
enough cowbells because 40% of our crowd isn't cowbells for it to matter like it did in the Arizona State game.
but say your cowbell is like a 1.2 times multiplier to your 60%. Then that still is an increase. It makes your 60% count for a little bit more.
I would argue we haven't met the threshold of needed cowbells to match.
I think that Tennessee game, it was like 60-40s, like 55-45, 50-50, and the Cowbells mattered. I mean, we almost won that game. It goes to overtime. I think the Cowbells mattered.
I mean, you'd obviously
disagree.
still prefer to be 80%, and then you add on the cowbells.
I agree.
But I'm saying the cowbells are still something.
Yep. Well,
They're not nothing,
That's what. Yeah, you got a 1.2 times multiplier to your crowd noise.
but I don't think they're enough to get on the keys to the game.
That's fine. I'll allow that.
yeah. Okay.
They're your keys to the game anyway.
Besides,
so.
if it's a moot point if we start trailing early because it's going to be 100-0.
You got to start quick is what I'm hearing.
I think he's, yeah.
There's going to be booing because Chafin, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's diabolical from the fan base, man.
It's the truth.
Well, they just wanted more from this season. They had higher hopes.
So Tucker, what he said 13 minutes ago or 17 minutes ago is what I'm getting at, more so. He said, to put it more succinctly, I think JP is saying you can't pick State to win 4 games in the preseason and then be disappointed if they win 5.
Yes.
That is what
I think that's fair. I just don't. I have a huge issue with the statement. You can't change expectations based on performance.
I clearly worded it wrongly. What I am trying to say is you can't change your preseason expectations based off of what has happened in season.
You have to keep perspective.
Yeah.
You have to
But,
keep some perspective.
My example, and this is a extreme, but it's just to prove a point. It's not to be like, oh, every situation is like this. But look at 2010 Auburn. Preseason number 22 or number 23. They go and win the national championship because you find out that Cam Newton is Cam Newton, right? Mississippi State fans, you find out Brennan Thompson is the fastest man in college football.
You already knew that.
Yes, but you see it in front of you and it actually works and it plays, and you find out Anthony Evans is a good wide receiver too, and then you find out Fluff Bothwell and Devon Booth are still really good.
And you find out the defense is indeed kind of stinky.
Well, through the first 4 games, they were not. They did have a bad second half against Arizona State, but Kelly Jones, you realize, is good. Zachary Tillman is playing well. You find out you've got a deep secondary in.
So you know what I would call that? A performance above expectations.
Right, but it also, I think expectations have to rise.
Cam Newton,
Okay.
Torrington Auburn, greatly exceeded expectations.
Yes, but halfway
Arizona
through,
State last year
halfway
greatly
through that
exceeded
season, your
expectations.
expectations
I understand that, but
have changed.
what if you are talking about Auburn this year?
Yeah.
They were expected to potentially be 9-3, competing for the SEC, 8-4. Definitely weren't expecting to have a losing record again. If they lose the Iron Bowl, it's still a failure of a season, even if you were
With a great moment.
having a great moment. Yes,
I mean, we're just going to have to agree to disagree
Yeah.
here.
and it's a massive failure of.
I agree there needs to be an
expectation.
adjustment there can be an adjustment of expectations while still keeping perspective.
Yeah, I think
Last year,
if you find out the team is not what you thought it was, your preseason expectations are irrelevant. Now, this can be in the case of Auburn, where the team is way worse, and you find out Jackson Arnold's not good, in which case your preseason expectations don't matter because you were expecting something based on something that turned out to be not true.
Well, they do
You were
matter.
expecting Jackson Arnold to be a 5-star quarterback and to figure it out with Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton. Turns out he can't throw a ball.
They do matter though, because that's the reason Hugh Freeze got fired.
yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't go, oh, well, Jackson Arnold sucks, so Hugh, you get a pass.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, sorry. They do matter, but like they also they do matter, but they also don't.
You just have to keep perspective. Last
That's-
year,
that's the
A&M
only- all I
suddenly
was
is in
trying to
the
do,
is in
yeah.
the driver's seat for SEC championship game. We don't make it. Oh man, that sucks. I had adjusted my expectations. However, I'm going to keep perspective. It was year 1 under Mike Elko. I saw a lot of positive
And
signs.
you were a game away from the SEC
Correct.
championship.
I'm overall not upset. I am disappointed with how the season ended. I wish that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't ever wish I lose any game. I'm disappointed every time A&M loses. So
Okay. You want to pick this game?
yeah, let's do it.
I guess.
On the bright side, it's 6.5, so it's easy to pick State.
Not at all.
No, you're right. Sorry,
Yeah,
you're supposed to
yeah.
pick Ole Miss in that situation.
We need to pick State because we're gonna move the line. Our
Yeah.
picks here on the show will move the line.
How about we put
hopefully.
every dime we've earned on this podcast into State to cover?
We don't have a dime.
We
Sadly.
yeah, every penny that we've made.
Yeah, that is tough. We don't really. have
So
much to do.
Sanders and I are tied in the college world pick'em right now.
So do y'all
at
alternate
40
going
and
first?
38.
Ooh.
I would argue, since I had the lead last week, it is mine until I'm unseated.
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair.
Dude,
it's-
I'm right there.
You are literally right there.
I'm nipping at the
It's-
heels.
It's 1 week.
And we picked 10 games this week.
We can't say that in the NFL, sadly. But in the college football, you are still 100% right there. It is anyone's game. As you can see, anyone can have a terrible week.
I'm shooting 25% in the NFL.
Yeah. I was 1-4 last week, and I plan on going 8-2 this week. And I'll start by picking. I'm gonna pick Mississippi State to win the Egg Bowl. I've said a lot. And in fact, I've already said it today in a show that we've done today. I believe in destiny, and I think, given what this program has gone through for the last 4 years, that this is the last 3 years, I should
3,
say.
yeah.
This is just a game of destiny, and it would just be the ultimate knife into the chest, pushing it in further, and fully putting you down like a dog, literally. If given everything that Old Piss is going through right now, they are still to win this game here in Starkville on Friday morning. And so I think it is very likely that is the reality that will occur. That is why it's favored.
Yep.
But I refuse to live in that reality. Give me Mississippi State
Sure.
to win the Golden Egg and cover.
Saunders.
I will also pick Mississippi State to win, which means they will cover. I said earlier that like a picture of Kamario Taylor with the Egg Bowl trophy would go hard. That was not me being like, oh, he needs to play. Like
I know. I was just giving you a hard time.
that was just more of a like. It's just gonna be. It would be so cool, and it's gonna be really cool when he does win one eventually, even if it's not this year. But like when he wins one as a starter, just because it'll be such a really cool full circle. See, that is a photo of him with the Egg Bowl trophy. But I swear, do you really think that's from 3 years ago?
He looks a lot smaller.
Do you think it's that old, or do you think they have a prop?
It could be a prop. Because it's talking about him breaking down his decision, and I feel like
I think that's a prop. I think that is not the actual Egg Bowl trophy. Also, is the actual one not golden? That one's silver.
This was taken definitely a filter. This seems to have been taken October 13th, 2023.
Which would have been...
We would have the possession.
Yeah, because they
trophy.
won at 23,
True.
24. Yeah. Okay. All right. I apologize. So he would have been a
shout out Kamario.
junior.
So it already exists. So
I'm happy. I'm happy State's not using a prop Egg Bowl. That'd be really stupid.
It would have been really dumb. That's why I was kind of confused. Anyway, I'm gonna pick us to win because I can't not. I'm so excited. I'm so nervous and terrified. Jack, why don't you give us a pick based on thoughts and not the fact that you're a fan of the team?
Yeah, so I'll start. It is a rivalry and crazy things happen. So I would not be surprised if Mississippi State won this game. That being said, the defensive performances I've seen over the last month give me no faith or hope or comfort that Mississippi State is going to be able to slow down Ole Miss Saturday. And so I'm going to take Ole Miss to win and cover.
Yeah, I'm the hater on the show. That's crazy.
I'm going to take Ole Miss to win and cover.
Hater.
I will be cheering very loud for Mississippi State in Glasgow, Kentucky.
About to say from a couch.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I got to go to my Thanksgiving.
If
No, you do.
if we win the Egg Bowl, would you cry?
I don't think I'll cry, but there will be a big smile on my face.
Hater.
I won't be able to cry. I'll be working. I kind of wish.
What do you mean you can't cry?
I'll have to. I will have to be so locked in that like I won't be able to like.
You can have a tear just drift down your face.
Yeah.
Hater.
I almost did. I was gonna cry for the Tennessee game. I think I had tears in my eyes.
See, this is why. Again, this is why I continue to make that point. It's Mississippi State. They will always ruin your dreams.